Hello and welcome. My name is Lexi and here I like to talk about luxury beauty. Today we are going over the SUQQU Fall Collection Part 2. So I already have a video with Part 1. Those were items that I was gifted in PR, but I placed an order from Selfridges and purchased a few more items. So we're going to go ahead and go over swatches. If you are interested in this collection, one of the great things about this is about half the items in the fall collection are actually permanent and half of them are limited edition. So if you are interested, definitely focus on limited edition items that you're interested in first. But right now, the collection is available at Selfridges and it will be launching on August 5th at Harrods, Liberty London, and Cult Beauty. Keep in mind, those retailers don't necessarily always get all of the pieces. I don't know what will end up going where. So let's dive into what I purchased. But before we do that, if you are ordering from the Selfridges counter, there is free shipping over, I believe it's 150 pounds. And there is a free gift. I'm not sure what the minimum is for the free gift, but this little case here, which actually is really nice. This is, vegan leather, but it's thick. I mean, look how thick this is. It's definitely a padded case, just a nice little travel case here. And this was the free gift with my purchase. So let's dive into what I picked up, and I will have that email address for SUQQU down below in the description box. We're going to start off with swatches of everything. This is the 117 quad. This is a limited edition. I have to say I would highly recommend this quad because I feel it's very unique and it's different for SUQQU. So the first shade here is going to be your very light shade. It's really more of a topper on the lids, and unless you really build it up, you really only see like a little bit of sparkle, not too much of the pink color. You'll see that in the demos. This shade here though is unique. So this is a red infused with green. So it looks brown in the pan, and when I look at it up close, I think it doesn't translate as well on the camera, but I can actually see green pigments in there when the light hits it. So look at that. It's like a duochrome shade, which is different for SUQQU. And you can see on the skin, it really has more of that brownish reddish tone, but occasionally you'll see like little hints of green. I do have some scratches in my arm, so just ignore that doing yard work. But this here is a really pretty green. I have this on my eyes right now. I used it wet. You can see it's going to be softer when it's dry, but more pigmented when it's wet. And then the last shade here is going to be a matte brown. This is going to be a warm tone brown. And you can see that the green's a satin. This is kind of like a duochrome satin. This is more of a shimmer, more topper, and this is a matte shade. I have to say, it's a really beautiful quad. I really like this one. Now, they also released some blushes. So 2 of the blushes are permanent. So let's start with that. Their newest blush formula is the Melting Powder Blush. This is shade number 9 and it is permanent. These blushes, they have a little bit more of like a gel powder consistency to them. And we'll just buff out a little bit of this here. And they just sort of melt into the skin. And there's a little bit of a sheen to them, like a pearly sheen without any glitter or anything. It's really more about just how the light reflects on it. It's really, really pretty. And then we have 10 to say this is a really great blush formula though. I really love this blush formula. 10 is going to be more rosy. You see that 9 is going to be more of nude with a little bit of peachiness to it. Whereas 10 is going to be more of a rose shade. Let's put that here. Very beautiful. I had to have both of these colors. They're just stunning. Now, there's also pure color blushes, which SUQQU has. These are the gradient blushes where you have something more pigmented here and it fades into a highlighter shade. So this is 132. This one is a limited edition. And you can see you start off with this red. And these are going to be really softly pigmented. I mean, obviously it's got a lot of color to it, but it's not going to be as bold until you build it up. They're a bit more buildable. And then this last shade here is going to be the yellow highlighter shade, and you can see that's got a sheen. Really, really pretty. I have to say, I really like the red side of this on my cheeks. You know, I think it's really pretty. The yellow, I have to say, doesn't work as well for me, but I can see that looking really nice on other people. And that is almost everything. We have 2 more limited edition items. SUQQU also released highlighter sticks, and they have had highlighter sticks in the past, but these are not the same formula. So there's this one, which is 101. Both of these are limited edition, by the way. This is light green. It doesn't look green though. It's gonna look clear. And hold on, my finger was a little dirty. Let me clean that off better. So here, let's put this one here. So here's the green. You can see it's gonna give you more of just this shine, this sheen. And these are actually meant to not swipe directly on your cheek. I mean, you obviously can, but the way that SUQQU actually recommends doing it is using your finger and then just patting over, you know, onto your makeup instead. And you're just using a little bit. This is really going to give you more of that like glossy sheen. And then we have 102, which is the pink one. This one is going to be a bit more pigmented. You can see you got kind of this peachy pink shade here, but look at it when you build it up. This one has shimmer. So you can see there's like some gold shimmer in there. And we're going to talk about these products while we do the demos. So let's start with the eye quad. I actually have 3 demos here. I really wanted to play with this first, you know, the second shade in the quad, the red green shade. I think that is really pretty and it's gorgeous all over the eyes. And the way the light reflects it really determines whether you see more brown or a little bit of red, but it's one of those shades where it's like a je ne sais quoi shade, you know? There's just a little bit of something that makes you curious when you see it on the lid. So in the first demo, I'm primarily focusing on that shade, and I have to say I really love this shade. I end up using it all the time. I think it's really beautiful, but you can totally use it in small parts and just use it as a regular neutral. And I think it's really unique. The matte goes on very easily. It's pigmented. So, you know, you have to be a little careful using that if you're, you know, starting to use it in the crease and so forth, because it is pretty pigmented. And the pink shade, as I mentioned, is a topper. The green one is going to be more of a satin, and you can put that on very lightly and get kind of this pastel mint green, or you can pile it on or use it wet to get something a little bit deeper. Now, the kind of thought behind this collection are like fall leaves, you know, so these are kind of colors that you see in the forest, you know, as fall is coming, things are starting to change. You kind of have a little bit of these like rusty overtones to everything. And I just think it's stunning. This quad is definitely a favorite. I think this is, I only picked up one. Well, the other quad that I got in PR was the other one I was going to purchase. I love that one, but this one is my favorite. So I think that this is stunning. Now in the second demo, I wanted to play with using the matte brown more like as a wing and so forth, and then playing a little bit with the pink and the green. Unfortunately, I filmed it, or I thought I filmed it, and something messed up and it didn't take. So this demo is just showing you where I put everything so you can kind of see where everything went. But I wanted you to really be able to see the colors of the green and the pink on their own on the lids, so you can see how those perform. And I just think this is such a versatile quad for having something very simple like these looks, or something a little bit more involved like today's look, where I end up using all 4 of the shades. And I wanted to play with these wet to see how they translate it wet. Now, typically I use these shadows dry, the SUQQU signature shadows, but they do, you know, they work wet as well. So it's definitely a way to get it a little bit more pigmented. And I think the colors really look very fall-like using this green and the brown and the red brown. Those they're really very fall-like, especially when wet for me. So if you are looking at any of the eyeshadow quads from the SUQQU Fall Collection, this is the only limited edition one, number 117. The other quads are part of the permanent line. So if you are interested in this one, definitely focus on getting that before the others, since those are permanent, they will be around. So let's move on to some other items. Let's take a look at the Pure Color Blush in 132. I had to get this. You know, the red just looked so stunning. I wasn't sure whether or not it would be too deep for my skin tone, but I think putting the red side on very lightly gives you that nice pop, that fresh, vibrant look. The yellow is a little bit too yellow for me, but people with warmer skin tones, this would actually make a really nice highlighter. Now, one of the great things about the Pure Color blushes is that these are very buildable. So you've got, you know, kind of like a light wash of color that you can build up to something more intense. So even the deeper shades do work on my lighter skin because they're buildable, but they are also going to work on deeper skin tones as well, provided, you know, you have the right color contrast and so forth. So I would have to say that this Pure Color blush, I think it's really beautiful. I'm very happy I picked this one up. And, you know, I'm actually loving everything that I picked up here. But moving on to the permanent blushes, these are the melting powder blushes. And again, 9 and 10 are permanent. I really love this formula. You know, it's got a little bit of a creamy gel type consistency, but it's a powder. So it really melts into your skin. It gives you a little bit of a glow without any shimmer or glitter particles. And when it melts in, it ends up becoming like one with your skin. It's really something very, very beautiful in the skin. I find it very easy to use. You can buff these in to get more of that pearly sheen to it, or you can, you know, just put it on with a loose, fluffy brush and kind of get just a more subtle wash of color. But these blushes in general are going to be more pigmented than the Pure Color blushes with one swipe. So you can build these up, you can build up the Pure Color, but in general, I would say that the melting powder blushes are more pigmented. And I love both of these shades here. So number 9, you know, is kind of your nude peachy. This is a great everyday shade. And I think it's just, it reads very fall to me because that's typically when I tend to reach for those more nude, little brown peach kind of shades. I really like this one, and I like how it's not overly warm, which, you know, can often be a problem with some of the nude shades. It has more of a peach undertone than a yellow or golden undertone, which I think is really useful for me. By the way, all of these blush compacts do come with a little blush brush in here as well in the little tray. And then the pink one for number 10, this is stunning. We're going to do a comparison with shade number 2 from the melting color blushes, which is another pink, so we can take a look at that. But I really like this, and I feel like this shade is filling a gap that was previously existing in this permanent lineup. So it's a really beautiful kind of rosy pink shade, and I love it. Now, as we're looking at these highlighter sticks, I have to say I like these highlighter sticks. If you are interested in balmy style highlighter sticks, this is what those are. They do have a little bit of that balmy texture. They don't fully dry down, but you're using just a little bit. So then, at least the way that I apply it with the finger, I'm using so little I can't feel it on my skin. If I'm building it up, like the swatches on my hand, those I can still feel. And I have to say that the green one feels more balmy, kind of like a thin layer of Aquaphor or something like that. Not quite as greasy as Aquaphor, but you get the idea, right? So it's not going to completely dry down. The pink one though, because it has that metallic gold in there, it actually does dry a little bit more than the green one, and it feels more like a silicone eye primer or something that you are putting on. So it still has a little bit of that slippery vibe to it, but it doesn't feel the same consistency as the green. And again, I believe that's due to the metallic feature of this, because you've got kind of this warm rosy pink shade with this gold metallic sheen to it. And when the light hits it, you can really see that glitter. Now in the demos, the green one, that recorded fine, but unfortunately the pink eyeliner demo, again, didn't record properly. So I'm putting it on top after I had just applied it. I added a little bit right above my lip just so you could see what it looked like directly on the skin without having a layer of the highlighter there previously. And you can kind of see that you will see a little bit of those gold glitter pieces. So between these two highlighters, you know, I thought I'd love the pink one more. I thought it'd be more wearable, but because of that gold metallic, which I think looks really nice, I actually tend to prefer the green. I think it gives you a really nice bit of shine, just like some other highlighting sticks and so forth, like the new Victoria Beckham and so forth. However, I feel like this one, I feel less on my skin because I need less product to get that shine that I would use from another product. So, you know, I feel like since I'm using less, I feel less of it on my skin, but I'm still getting the same impact that I would get from another similar product. So is it something that's necessary to have? No, but I think it's a really nice highlighting stick. I really like both of them. All right, so let's go ahead and do some comparison swatches. We're gonna start off with the eyeshadow comparisons. This is the closest SUQQU palette to, you know, the green. This is 114. This was limited edition as well. We're not gonna swatch all of this. This gold shade's obviously not in there, but let's go ahead with this peachy shade and the green shade. The blue is not gonna be in there either, but you can see that this green is gonna be much more mint-like. And here's the peach. The peach is actually, it's a little peachier, but it is reminiscent of the first shade that is in this new palette, the 117. This is one of the permanent palettes. This is number 1. And I want to take a look at this rosy shade here. And we're going to put this right up here at the top. And I wanted to see how that compared to this shade. You can see that the tones are similar. This one has a little bit more brown, and notice that this, I mean, again, this is the red green shade, but notice that this one has more of a satin finish. This is a matte. And then we have this is another permanent quad. This is number 6. Let's take a look at the green and the brown here. And let's see, where can we, well, we'll just go back on the top as well. Okay, so you can see that color story-wise, I mean, they're not exactly the same or anything, but they are close enough to those two shades. So if for some reason you miss out on the 117 and you are interested in a similar color story, I would say that, you know, you can get something similar with this. So I think you can get something similar though with the 6, and maybe pairing it with palette number 1 and 6 together to get something similar to the 117 quad. Moving on to the blushes, this is number 9, the new one. And this is 129, which was a limited edition shade. So let's take a look at this. And this one is actually a pure color blush without the gradient. So it's not going to be quite as strong as the melting color blushes. You can see just even on the pigmentation how that shears out more easily. Notice that this one is going to be a little bit more of those golden undertones. Now another permanent shade, this is number 4. Again, this is number 9. So you can see that these are going to be different, but number 4 is one that I wear a lot. It's probably one of my most worn shades here. Let's put that right there. Notice that this is going to have more peach. So it's not going to be quite as nude as number 9. All right, so this is number 10, the new one, and this is number 2 that was already existing. You can tell directly from the pan that they're not going to be exactly the same. So let's go ahead and see how number 2 compares. So notice number 2 is going to be brighter, and it has, you know, a bit more of that like strawberry pink look to it. This one here, I can't really say one's warmer or cooler than the other. The tones are just different, but this is going to be more rose, whereas this is more like carnation pink. So again, 10 and 2. So this is 132, the pure color blush. There has been a similar color story to this in the past. I do not have that. However, I wanted to share one of my favorite pure color blushes. This is number 4. So this is permanent. It's not going to, you know, be nearly the same, but I do think that this is like a wearable red for like anybody. So, or pretty much anybody. So here's the 3 shades here from left to right of that. So again, you can see that this is definitely going to be a brighter pop, whereas these are going to be a little bit duskier. But again, it's going to give you a really beautiful flush on the cheeks. Oh, real quickly, I did want to mention these 2 Byredo palettes and see how they compare. This is the green from Metal Boots in the Snow. This is green with a reflect as well. We're just going to put a little bit of that right there. So you can kind of, I mean, it's different. It's more of like a duochrome between these 2 shades, but I wanted to share that along with kind of a little bit of these like rusty shades here from the Disco palette. So let's put that right here. It's gonna be a lot deeper. Let's go with this lighter shade here and put that there. That's gonna be more coppery. All right, so let's take a look at some highlighters. So this is the Victoria Beckham highlighting stick in Pearl, and we're gonna put this right here near the green. So this is gonna be a little bit thinner, a little bit oilier in texture, whereas, you know, the consistency is a little thicker with the SUQQU. You can see that this is gonna have a little bit more of like a peachy champagne look compared to the translucency of the light green. This is the Viela FR Bomb Shine, and we're gonna put that right above it. So it's right here. Sorry, I have a little cut on my hand, but you can see that again, this consistency is more similar to the Victoria Beckham. It's gonna be a little bit thinner, a little oilier, but it does give you a nice clear shine to that product or to your skin as well. And then this is the Surratt Torche Lumiere in Rose Diamante. We're gonna put this right here. This is going to be a pink as well, but instead of having the gold reflect, you have more of a silver reflect. This has a little bit of a metallic look to it as well, but silver instead of gold. This pink is slightly cooler in tone. It's a little bit more pink, and whereas this one's a little bit more peachy pink. I also wanted to look at the Westman Atelier Super Loaded Tinted Highlighters. This one here is Peau de Rosé, and put that right here. These are going to be more pigmented, but again, Peau de Rosé is going to have a little bit of that glitter in there as well. It's a cooler pink, and you know, it's a really beautiful color, but they did recently come out with Peau de Santé, which is a little bit of a peachier pink, and let's just put that there. But again, these are going to be a bit more pigmented. And you can see the Peau de Rosé, again, is going to have a little bit more of that like glitter in there, and it's going to be more silvery as well compared to the SUQQU. And then this is the Westman Atelier Lit Up Highlighting Stick in Lit. So this is the original shade. We're going to compare this with the green. This actually has a bit of iridescence, so you can see that there. But you're going to get a sheen. So notice next to that, you can see a little bit more of that greenish hue from the SUQQU, but again, it's going to be pretty translucent, whereas this is going to have kind of like a little bit of a blue pink iridescence. So that's it for my comparisons. I hope they were helpful. And again, this collection is available currently at Selfridges. I ordered from the SUQQU counter at Selfridges through email, and I'll leave that email address down below in the description box if you are interested. Sometimes they have things in stock in the store that are sold out online. So if there's something in particular you're looking for, definitely take a look at that. And again, there is currently free shipping for purchases 150 pounds and above. And this collection will be launching at Harrods, Liberty London, and Cult Beauty on August 5th. So if you're interested in any pieces of this collection, definitely keep an eye out for that. And check out my part 1 video as well with the other items. I have to say, I love this fall collection. I haven't seen photos of any other fall collection so far that looks as nice as this SUQQU fall collection. This is my favorite so far. We'll see if something can come up and kind of beat that. But so far, like Dior, Chanel, you know, none of them are topping this collection for me. So I am loving this. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you very soon. So have a great day.